in the high elevations, and it wasn't done showing face just yet. Snow. And no, I don't mean the weather. This is a female grizzly bear named Snow, given that name due to her lighter coat color. And today she was out foraging with our two now subadult cubs. These bears have been in a few vlogs before this, but last time we saw them, the cubs were in their first year and were incredibly vulnerable. Now, they were almost full grown, and soon Snow would be kicking them out to live on their own. As Snow and her cubs headed into a dense thicket, I spotted what looked like another bear jam forming about a half a mile away. So I quickly hopped in the truck and drove over there, where I found another familiar face. This is Jam, Snow's younger sister, and she's another bear I've featured on the channel many times before. Thankfully, the weather had died down a bit by now, and Jam was ready to give us a show. Alright, so this bear is very quickly working its way down the beach away from us, so I'm going to move the truck and see if I can get some better photo angles. Jam worked her way towards my new position, stopping briefly to do a bit of tree rubbing. Tree rubs are one of the many ways bears communicate with one another. This is her equivalent of posting a Facebook status update. She's letting other bears in the area know she's here, she's using this territory, and when other bears come through, they will be able to tell how long ago she was here based on the strength of her scent. At the same time, she's also gathering status updates from other bears who have also rubbed against this tree this year. Her nose is powerful enough to discern each of their different scents, and she can probably even identify individual bears she's familiar with based on scent. Jam continued towards me, walking along the edge of the hill and allowing for some beautiful images of her against the sheets of ice still floating on Yellowstone Lake from last winter. Jam went out of view shortly thereafter, so I left the scene and drove north, where something absolutely incredible happened before I had the time to set up and film. Oh my god. Wolves. That was insane, guys. Oh my God, here are the shots. These wolves are from the Wapiti Lake Pack, the same pack that gave me my first wolf sighting ever back in 2020, my best wildlife sighting ever back in 2024, and now this incredible moment with 2 different gray wolves. There's just nothing as special as sharing intimate moments with apex predators up close, and it's something I am very lucky to do in Yellowstone, and I can't wait to eventually do in Africa. When am I going to Africa, you might ask? Well, when I hit 100,000 subscribers, I am going to be randomly selecting someone to go on a free, all expenses paid African safari with me. I've done this twice before already and taken people to Yellowstone and Alaska. The one stipulation, you have to be a subscriber to be entered to win the trip. So, if you haven't already, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button down below, and who knows, maybe you'll be the lucky person to come along. On the way home, it began to snow again, and I got another fun photo session with a big bull bison out in a beautiful spring blizzard. A few days later, I went out into Yellowstone's northern range, which makes up the upper 20% of the park. Here, it's about 1,000 feet lower in altitude than where I had been before, and because of that, spring was a little farther along. Alright, so I'm out here in Cook City, Montana right now. I just finished wrapping up eating lunch, and I'm about to head back into the park to see what we can find to photograph. The clouds have gotten really dramatic. It's even more overcast than earlier. It just looks really nice for photography. It's going to be nice soft light, so I'm excited to see what we can find. Unfortunately, I hadn't seen much on my drive from Gardner to Cook City. So, on my way back through, I decided to stop and just focus on some of the smaller, overlooked species of the park. So I'm laying down in the grass here. There are Uinta ground squirrels, which are these little prairie dog looking animals. One just ran over there. They're all around me. I'm kind of in like the middle of their home area here of this little colony of ground squirrels. And they're popping in and out of these holes. And as they're doing so, I'm getting really low using this nice green grass here as a foreground and the green grass or sagebrush as a background. Blowing out the foreground, blowing out the background, making all of that really soft and blurry, and just getting that standing. I've got one right here. I'm going to take a photo real quick. just getting that standing ground squirrel as the part of the image that's in focus, and it's working really nicely. Not the most exciting subjects in the world, but still an important part of this ecosystem, and the prey species of the #1 animal we're trying to photograph in this vlog, the American badger. As I photographed the ground squirrels, a visitor came by. These ground squirrels are a favorite food of coyotes, so as cool as it was to see, the passing canid drove my subjects back into the safety of their burrows. A moment ago, I mentioned that I had a target species for this vlog, that being the American badger. I've photographed badgers a handful of times before, but it's been a few years, so by the end of this vlog, my main goal is to get another good series of badger images to add to my portfolio. So I'm currently hiking out to a spot where I've seen badgers before. Never really had a chance to photograph one out here, but I have seen them moving around in the area. It's good habitat. Really all of this is good habitat. So I'm just looking for signs of them, looking for fresh digs, and obviously a prey source like the Uinta ground squirrels we photographed earlier. And if I can find that, then I might find a badger. I definitely had success finding sign of badgers, coming across dig after dig made by these fierce little animals. However, all my hike yielded animal-wise was a nice pronghorn image. After a full day in the field, I set out at sunset in a totally different area of the northern range, hiking for a landscape photo. Well, my attempt for that photo was a total failure, so instead of showing you the shots, I'll take a moment here to put out a reminder that I am now running Spring in Yellowstone workshops as well as Spring in the Tetons, with my first few coming up this May and June. What you see in this video is exactly what we'll be doing. Going out into the field and spending our days in lush landscapes with abundant wildlife, as I show you the park and teach you wildlife photography in the process. If you'd like to get more details, the workshop webpage is linked at the top of the video description. There you can find dates, pricing, and how to book. These trips have already got some participants on them, and I expect they will fill relatively quickly. So I would act sooner than later if you're interested in joining me. I would love to show you what Yellowstone has to offer in person. Alright, so I am on my way home, and the light just freaking popped, guys. It popped through this thunderstorm, and it is hitting the mountains and trees in the most beautiful way possible. So I'm turning around now to try to get some quick photos of this because it's going to be very fleeting. It's going to be over in just a few moments. Oh my god, this is unreal. This is incredible. This light is absolutely perfect right now. The next day, I was guiding a private tour for Yellowstone Wild, the local tour company I work for through the summer. And my client and I had one of the best field days I had in all of 2025. Another familiar face, although one I hadn't gotten any good images of in almost 4 years. The Obsidian sow, also known by her tag number 815. She had 3 subadult cubs alongside her. They worked their way through a thermal area and then into the distance and out of view. But they hadn't gone without letting us get at least one incredible photo opportunity. After Obsidian disappeared, we continued down the road, and to our great surprise, found another familiar bear family. So I am with some clients out here in Yellowstone. We just had the Obsidian sow, and now we are with the barrel sow who just came out of the trees here. This is awesome. As I said, this is the barrel spring sow. Tagged number 980, she also had subadult cubs with her. The last time I photographed this bear was in 2022, when she lost her cubs of the year to a male bear. Now she had new cubs, and thankfully she had been much more successful in raising them. They were now almost her size. In the spring, this is the vast majority of what you see grizzly bears doing. Grazing. They love the fresh greens that pop up shortly after the snow melts, and until those greens dry up later in the year, you can find bears feeding on them across the park. Like this bear, 40 miles away in the opposite corner of the park, and he was doing the exact same thing, feeding on green grasses. This bear is unique in comparison to the other ones in this video, in that this is a Yellowstone bear I had never met. He was an absolutely gorgeous young male, tagged G288. G288, or we'll just call him 288 for short, is about 5 years old, and he's still nowhere near his prime. In my opinion, he's the prettiest well-known bear in Yellowstone right now, with that perfect chocolate and caramel coat and that classic disc-shaped grizzly face. And I really can't wait to see the big dominant boar he will become in the coming years. Spring was coming to an end now, and if I wanted those badger images, my window was shrinking. As we get into summer, badgers become nocturnal, and getting images of them is almost impossible. Alright, so it's very windy. I'm using the car doors as kind of a windshield right now, but way out here, a pronghorn just gave birth to at least one fawn. I think I see 2 in there. which is really cool. It's just the time of year, the start of June, where they start to drop the fawns, and within a few minutes the fawns are up and walking, and that's such a cool thing to witness for the first time, and we're seeing that right now. So you can't really make it out from here, but over on that hillside, there's an active badger den that is being used. So this is what I've been looking for. So I'm gonna get out here, I'm gonna set up my tripod, camera gear, the whole 9 yards. This is a waiting game at this point. The mother was seen going in and out of the den this morning, but hasn't been seen since. So it's just a matter of waiting until the next time she pops out, and hopefully getting those photos that I'm looking for. I got incredibly lucky here. This mother badger had moved her young to a roadside den just a couple days ago, and it was timed perfectly for me to have the opportunity to set up and wait for them to show. Or not wait at all. They began playing outside the den almost as soon as I got set up. After a short play session, the kit went back into the den, and Mom, after sniffing around a bit, went out on a hunt. That was just an appetizer. As the day lengthened and the light got softer, the main course, my photo opportunity, would eventually come. After over 3 hours of waiting, the kit finally came back out of the den, curiously looking over at the hill where I stood, and this was the moment I've been looking for. I finally got some badger photos. This isn't the intimate portrait of a badger I was really hoping for, but it was a badger den nonetheless, and a new and unique shot in my portfolio. So I'll happily take it. It had been a truly glorious and photographically successful spring in Yellowstone, but summer was quickly making its presence known, and my next adventure approached. I would soon be returning to Alaska, where I would camp among brown bears along a remote salmon stream and capture some of the most incredible moments I've ever experienced. But I've still got a lot of work to do on that video, so until then, thank you all for watching, get out there and shoot some photos, and I will see you all in Alaska.
In every victory, there's a story. In every defeat, there's a lesson. And behind every headline, there's a truth waiting to be told. Next week, veteran sports journalist Andre Batiste takes you beyond the scores, beyond the medals, and beyond the controversy in a special multi-episode series. The good, the bad, and the ugly of sports in Trinidad and Tobago. Hear from some of the nation's top athletes, administrators, coaches, and the biggest names in local sport as they share their triumphs, challenges, frustrations, and hopes for the future. Airs Wednesday 10th to Friday 12th at 2:30 p.m. Only on WESN, the content capital.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, The Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Welcome back. Moving ahead to our Thriving Today segment. For decades, Nature Seekers has been known for its conservation work and efforts to protect the leatherback turtles in Matura. Now, the organization is offering visitors a different kind of journey, one that blends nature, culture, and storytelling. The newly launched Folklore Trail brings some of Trinidad and Tobago's most beloved mythical characters to life, creating an immersive experience that celebrates the nation's rich heritage while encouraging ecotourism and community engagement. Joining me this morning, I have Larissa Hossain and Stacey Ramrup to join in this discussion. Good morning, guys.
Hi, good morning.
So lovely to have you here with us in studio.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure being here. Now, right off the bat, what inspired Nature Seekers to create the Folklore Trail in Matura?
So the Folklore Trail was created because Matura is a magical environment. When you're there, you really feel like you step back in time. The forest is very beautiful. So Matura means dense forest.
Wow.
Yeah, and when you're there, it really feels like a folklore comes alive. And also, from personal experience, I really like folklore. I love local culture. I've been an ambassador for Trinidad for so many years. Whenever I live in different countries, I always represent Trinidad. So when I started working in Matura, it came as a no-brainer that, you know, this experience would be a success. So I created and developed the Folklore Trail because Matura is just such a great environment for these things, and what you would find is that a lot of rural communities, that local culture with folklore is still very much alive. So the Folklore Trail was born.
Wow. And along those lines, how does the trail really differ from the organization's traditional ecotourism and turtle conservation activities?
So traditionally, our tours would be turtle watching, turtle tagging. We also do kayaking, mermaid pool, and things like that. But for our turtle tours, they're really rooted in science and data. And while that is our main priority, this folklore tour allows us to explore a more creative side. It allows us to dip into that creative industry, so like performance, dramas, entertainment, things like that, makeup and artistry. So the Folklore Trail really allows us to expand beyond science and data collection, and all of those things work hand in hand in a really unique way with this store.
It definitely does, and especially how you're bringing this across, you're painting a picture that I'm excited already to explore. Can you walk us through what visitors can expect when they experience this trail?
Yeah, so once you start the trail at the entrance, there'll be drumming. As you go along the trail, it's a circular loop, so it starts at our car park entrance and it ends at the car park entrance as well. And while you go through the forest, there are different checkpoints where you encounter different characters. So the 5 characters that we've highlighted would be Mama Glow, Papa Boa, Dwen, Lagahu, and the Sukunya. So as you go along this trail, it's very immersive, it's very entertaining, it's a very unique trail, and you meet these characters, you interact with them, you hear about their stories and how their stories relate to conservation and different community values.
Wow. Now, I feel like a lot of persons know about these characters, but not how they can contribute, like you mentioned. Yeah. So why was it important to incorporate these particular folklore characters, you know, the Mama Glow, Papa Boa, the Dwens, the Sukunya, and the Lago?
So historically, Papa Boa has always been seen as the protector of the forest.
Right.
So he's intrinsically linked to nature already. Okay. And, you know, our name, Nature Seekers. It was a given that we include Papa Boa. And because we're very leatherback, sea turtle focused, marine environment focused, Mama Glow was also a given. She is seen as, you know, the wife of Papa Boa or the protector of the marine environment. Yeah. So obviously, Mama Glow and Papa Boa would be central figures to the trail. And with neo-folklore and exploring that aspect of neo-folklore with the Sukunya and the Lagahu and Dwens, you can adapt their stories to fit into conservation. So we collaborated with UE Arts in Action. I like to shout out Chantal and Emmanuel. Yeah. They were really instrumental in helping us explore what the folklore trail would look like in terms of character portrayals, character stories, the backgrounds. They really helped us flesh it out. And what they really brought to the scene was the introduction of that concept of neo-folklore and having these traditional characters represent something new. Yeah. So, for example, Dwens, in neo-folklore, you can kind of highlight the concept of recycling and pollution, the dangers of pollution with that. With the Sukunya, you know, this is kind of too on the head, but she's a ball of fire. You could kind of spin her story to represent bushfires, wildfires, the dangers of throwing a cigarette on the ground and, you know, it sparks and it becomes a danger. So those characters, for now, they really fit into what we're trying to promote, which is, you know, conservation, the dangers of bycatch, especially with leatherback sea turtles, the dangers of hunting outside of the hunting season or even overhunting. Yeah, so those are the characters that we decided to work with, and they were more adaptable to the message that we're trying to bring across.
Wow. In terms of being concerned about that younger generation, how concerned would you say are you about that generation becoming disconnected from local folklore and oral traditions?
I would say it is a major concern. You would find a lot of younger generations now, they know more about Bigfoot. They can't spell larger bless. They know more about these Western characters. And I think it's always great to inspire children to learn more about international phenomenon and culture and history. I would never discourage that, but it should never be at the expense of learning about your own culture. It should go hand in hand. So we really hope that with this folklore trail, we can find a new and inventive way of inspiring children to care and learn about their own local culture here. Because, I mean, for a long while, people were Team Edward and Team Jacob at Twilight here. And, you know, why can't you be Team Papa Boa, Team Lagahu, you know? So, yeah, it is a concern, but I feel like when more initiatives like this are introduced into society and more interest is piqued through these kinds of projects, I think that it wouldn't be too much of a concern later on. But for now, we need more projects like this. We need to really spark that interest in local culture and local history and things like that.
And I feel like you touched a bit on my next question, but to tie it in, this trail, can you see the trail being a start to a way of preserving Trinidad and Tobago's cultural heritage?
For sure. As you said in your introduction, Nature Seekers has always been that paragon in our society. We lead conservation initiatives, and I think with this trail, we can become even more of a stronghold in this new direction in terms of cultural and heritage preservation. And, not to toot our own horn, but I think we're the first people in Trinidad and Tobago to have something like this. So definitely Nature Seekers continues to be that steadfast presence in society, like a trailblazer then. So yes, I do believe that this trail can lead to more heritage preservation, cultural preservation that's entwined with natural and environmental conservation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Stacey, on that social media part of things, do you think that social media could definitely push it and bring awareness to the public that, this is something that you'd want to be a part of?
Oh, definitely, Takia. We definitely plan to use our social media channels, if I may, one time. So Nature Seekers can be found we're on all social media platforms. So on Facebook, it's Nature Seekers. On Instagram, it is Nature Seekers TT. We're also on TikTok at Nature Seekers 868. And the rest, I think, on LinkedIn, it's Nature Seekers. So definitely stay tuned to all our social media channels, where you'll find more details about the rolling out of this folklore trail as well. We're very excited. And we want to invite everybody to Matura, definitely, to experience what Matura has to offer. And as Larissa mentioned also, just experience this cultural, natural, and storytelling experience.
And in that, what you were saying, it's definitely open to the public, right?
It's
so
definitely
no
open to the
age
public.
brackets or...
There's no age bracket. So the tour itself, it was designed and geared towards students. So we really hope that a lot of students and schools use this as a school field trip, educational experience. So that's our main target group, but it is open to everybody. The general public will enjoy it, senior citizens, everybody. But we really do hope that schools bring their kids out and their students out to really learn about what we do in Matura and how these characters can really, encourage conservation and things like that.
Definitely.
And along the lines of encouraging, I know a lot of the time storytelling is used. What role can you see, this storytelling play in helping people connect with our history and also with our identity?
Well, in the Caribbean, especially Trinidad, Trinidadians are storytellers. Every single person in Trinidad, well, the majority, know how to tell a story. They're very engaging, and it is part of our cultural identity. And storytelling, even before you had like digital platforms and things like that, oral traditions, before you had books, there was always that oral aspect of storytelling. And that has been passed down, and that forms a big part of our identity as Trinbagonians. So storytelling itself is very important because it kind of reminds us of that aspect of our culture, of our identity, and it is very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very important.
No problem. And would you say along the lines, this attraction would help draw visitors outside of that traditional nesting season for turtles?
Yeah, so definitely Takia. Of course, Nature Seekers is most popularly known for our turtle watching experiences, turtle tagging experiences. However, what we want to do is encourage year-round visitation. So this trail gives us that opportunity now outside of nesting season, which is from March to August, to have persons visiting us year-round to experience again what Matura has to offer and what Nature Seekers has to offer. So definitely we see it as an opportunity also to diversify our portfolio and our offerings and to get persons into Matura to enjoy, the nature, the beauty, and the people, of course.
Absolutely. Now, what opportunities does this trail create for local guides, performers, and even entrepreneurs?
It created a lot of opportunities, even for the trail launch that we had on the 22nd of May. Just before the launch, we engaged local artists, so Nida Felix, Daniel Budu Fortuné. Yeah, we engaged local artists, so Nida and her father, they would have created our wooden character props. She was the one who came up with the concept of the character design as well.
Wow.
And Daniel Budu Fortuné, she and her family, they would have painted the mural that's on our wall right now. And it's still a work in progress, but we do have part of the wall completed as part of the mural, and she would have painted the folklore characters within a forest setting. So those local artists, again with UB Arts in Action, they introduced us to a world, to like a wealth of artists. We got the UB Drummers Ensemble to play at the launch. Even Matura Secondary and Matura Primary School, they brought their students and they would have played entertainment for us during the launch. So, and then within the Nature Seekers, it's a community-based NGO. So a lot of our persons who are employed are from the community. So you would find that a lot of employment opportunities are primarily between the turtle nesting season, between March and August. So outside of that now, there are more opportunities for employment with crafts, because we're hoping to make crafts specific to the folklore trail. The tour guides themselves are from the community, so there are more training opportunities, more chances to upskill them, more chances to, you know, engage them, build their capacity and their skills. So we are engaging drummers, we are engaging persons who want to be able to tell stories, storytellers. We're engaging so many different persons just for this one trail. And under the Green Fund Nectar project, which is what this trail is under, we're also going to develop 2 more trails. Yeah, so we have, with the success of the folklore trail launch, we now have more space and more capacity to think of even more unique ways to develop tours that are rooted in conservation and sustainability.
Absolutely.
So yeah, community development is a huge part of this folklore trail because everybody is involved in it.
Yeah, it seems so, especially how you're sharing on it and the involvement with not just the typical people you'd hear about, but with the schools as well coming and being a part. It's a community altogether. Do you see it, you know, on a cultural tourism level becoming a larger part of Nature Seekers' offerings in the future?
Yes, definitely. So my background is in tourism and cultural tourism, and I think it's such a unique offering, and once it's taken care of, which I think it will be, the people of Matura have been so receptive to this idea that I just presented to them, and they ran with it and they really embraced it fully. And I think because the passion is there, that it's not static, it's not a set tour in terms of what it looks like and how it's produced. So I think there's room for it to expand beyond what it is right now. And once there's room for expansion, once there's room, you know, it's very dynamic. I think for sure in terms of cultural tourism, word will spread. Persons, once they experience it and they enjoy it, they will recommend it. And when we have, you know, organizations like WESN and other organizations giving us this platform to really talk about it, I think more persons will be interested, and definitely with cultural tourism, it could become a standard.
I could see it becoming the standard to set the tone for more and more different avenues opening up to just embrace that cultural heritage of ours, you know?
And Takia, if I might add, even become a model for other communities, right, Larissa? So that they too can, you know, incorporate some of those traditions and, you know, educate the young persons within the country as well.
What you find happening is in different rural communities, they all have different versions of the folklore characters. Mama Glow is not the same in any community. Papa Boa is not the same. Even the Sukunya is not exactly the same in different communities. So there is room to really develop this folklore tour as a model to even create your own in your own community.
I love how you're just, throwing it out there and, of course, putting things in place so when persons are looking on, they get to take something away from it, I think that is really important. And even going back to your folklore characters that, happen to tie in or linked in with the trail, was that connection intentional in terms of using those particular folklore characters?
Yeah, so it was very intentional. Yeah. Like I said before, Papa Boy and Mama Glow, they're already intrinsically linked to nature. They already have that background, and it was very easy to build upon that background. In terms of other characters that people are familiar with, like Laja Bless and things like that, at first it was a little bit difficult trying to incorporate their stories into conservation and things like that. So we're still working on it, but definitely these characters, it was intentional, and it was very easy to adapt their stories into what we want to present to the public.
Absolutely. And now we have touched on this, but do you believe experiences like this one can really help people develop that greater appreciation for Trinidad and Tobago's natural spaces?
Yeah, definitely, Takia. We know that domestic tourism after COVID-19 has definitely taken off, and persons are looking more within our country to find experiences that they enjoy. Matura is a very safe place, we like to think so. So take the drive to Matura, come and experience, what we have to offer. But yes, it does give a greater appreciation for natural spaces, and that's exactly the type of thing that we would like to encourage. Utilizing and tapping into our local resources that can be used in a sustainable way, of course, to bring about some sort of economic development for the community and incorporate that eco-cultural tourism experience.
Absolutely,
so for sure.
Definitely. And even looking ahead, how can folklore be used as a tool to continue to promote environmental awareness and conservation?
So even as the tour is now, just by giving them a platform and having them be the representative voices of the messages that you want to portray. And I think what we can do even more is we can start to focus on branding of these characters and personalizing them, having their characterization become more, not humanized, but a little bit more relatable. So for example, with the character of Papa Boy that we have, we can start to use them in campaigns to spread messages like stop killing babies, you only need the adult animals during hunting season. Don't do this, don't do that. And not necessarily focusing on the negative aspect of it, but you can also use their images and give them a personality to portray positive messages. So like, for example, when we rescue leatherback sea turtles that are stranded, or sometimes we get calls to rescue birds that are covered in oil. Sometimes we get calls to rescue snakes from people's houses. We can use these characters to highlight the positive messages as well. So
for sure.
Great. Now, we know Nature Seekers has become synonymous with conservation success. What message do you hope visitors take away after walking the folklore trail? Not only about our folklore, but about the importance of preservation both for our culture and for the environment.
So the main message that we want persons to take away from this entire experience is love your country, and with the love from your country comes the love for environment. It goes hand in hand. You can't say, I love Trinidad and Tobago, I'm a patriot, I do this, I do that, and you throw away your KFC box at the side of the road. With loving a country comes a love for the environment, a love for your fellow persons, no matter who they are or what they represent. Love your fellow citizen, love your environment, love your culture. Be a representative, be an ambassador for your culture, for your people. And that's the main message that we want persons to come away from this experience. And also, research, do your research. Lean into that. Trinidad is a wealth of knowledge, of culture, of different phenomenon. So educate yourself, research, and just become acquainted with who you are, and it will also help with your identity as a Trinbagonian.
Yeah. Wow. Stacey, do you have anything to add to that?
Just want to agree with what Larissa said. And of course, at Nature Seekers, we continue to promote that message of conservation. Of course, this is in a very fun and immersive way, as Larissa mentioned. So again, we welcome you once the trail is launched and rolled out. We welcome you to come to experience what we have to offer in Matura.
Thank you. Yeah. I love that. I feel like that welcome was a personal welcome to me also.
It is a welcome to everyone.
And just for the public, again, can you just give us back the social so we can reach out? And,
So as I mentioned, we're on all social media platforms. So on Facebook, it's Nature Seekers. We're also on Instagram at Nature Seekers TT. We're on TikTok at Nature Seekers 868, and we can also be found on LinkedIn at Nature Seekers. So feel free to like and share our posts, check out our social media pages, and please keep posted for more information as we continue to roll out this exciting tour.
Now, this is something I'm definitely going to be continuing, updating, looking out for, refreshing, just to make sure I'm not missing out on anything. So I'd advise the public to do the same with it. Thank you guys so much for coming on this morning and sharing with us, what is something we can look forward to, not just, the typical things Nature Seeker has, but that cultural aspect to it with heritage and folklore. It truly is amazing, and it's commendable what you're doing.
Thank you so much for having us, and thank you so much for giving Matura this platform. Because Matura really is a home. It is welcoming, and we can't wait to welcome everyone to Matura.
Trinidad and Tobago, get ready for a musical explosion of freedom, culture, and pure steel band magic.
Featuring 5 of the nation's super bands, plus their talented youth bands.
Get ready for generations of steel.
The ultimate celebration of our national instrument.
Featuring 5 of the nation's super bands, plus the talented young band.
Experience the power and passion of Desperados,
Shell Invaders,
Massey Trinidad All-Stars,
First Citizens Supernovas,
and the pride of the South, Fun Clear. Saturday, July 11th
at the iconic Grandstand, Queens Park, Savannah.
Save $100 and get your early bird tickets at $200 until Saturday, June 27th.
Get yours now. Available at ICNTT.com.
At Crosby St. James.
All Kenny Sports.
All Extra Foods Supermarket.
Westby, Tagariwa. Athletes by the Park.
Jumbo Foods, Barataria.
GAC Electrical. Opposite Starlight. Diggermarkton Main Road.
Mirage Westside Supermarket in Arima.
And all participating bands. Presented by Super Padman, Dane Gulston and Friends. For more info, call 732-3402.
Generations of Steel.
You are watching Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Just give an overview of what exactly is that split arrangement.
In the studio now, you don't need to register nothing. You don't need. We can do that another time. But then it becomes a hit, and then everybody starts to want to claim.
The laws that predate many of the independent countries' constitutions are going to be those colonial laws.
We know there are an infinite amount of circumstances that would lead to a murder.
I have a great idea and I have a great concept, but until it's actually expressed, it does not become intellectual property.
Accomplishments or targets of a forensic accountant is to quantify what may have been lost.
We believe in different criminals and we manipulated the law and we exploited the system.
A responsible journalist will reach out to the person who they have the information on for a comment.
Welcome back. Wildlife is not just about preserving nature, but also safeguarding tourism, education, food security, and the environmental balance that communities depend on. International conservationist, explorer and founder of Jungle Keeper, Paul Rosalie, focuses on preserving the Amazon wildlife. We'd like to show you all a clip of this video, so take a look at this message from Paul.
Idea that, if you were to come to a major office building and try to set it on fire, it would be an act of terrorism. You'd go to jail. But if we go to a forest and we use explosives to destroy the side of the mountain, and we cut down the forest and kill all the animals and burn the trees. Somehow that's just called development. It's not development, it's murder. And at this point on Earth, we've lost 50% of the wildlife on our planet. Not of the species, but of the total numbers of those species. So 50% of the life on our planet we've killed. Removed the habitat, actually killed the species. Tigers have lost so much of their range. India actually is an incredible success story for conservation because the tigers are going up in numbers. And so that's huge. In so many other countries, tigers have dropped off and are just gone. What I try to explain to people is that we are still so connected to ecosystems, and we have to change the way we think.
That was a message from Paul. Now, in our Eco Hero feature segment, understanding wildlife goes far beyond conservation and observation. It's about patience, instincts, and building a unique connection with nature. Wildlife observationist Jeremy Wish has spent years working closely with animals across Trinidad and Tobago, learning their behaviors, earning their trust, and in some cases, rehabilitating them for release back into wild. Today, we explore how he reads wildlife and the delicate balance between captivity, training, and conservation. Good morning, Jeremy.
Good morning.
So, take us back to the beginning. What first sparked your passion for working so closely with wildlife?
Well, I think most of us would have started looking at Steve Owen, the crocodile hunter, deceased. And that's where I would be, from a child, I would be looking at him and wishing I could do the things that he was doing. Yeah. I was about like 5, 6 years old. And the first time I encountered a snake was like the greatest experience of my life. When I didn't know what I was doing, but from what he showed me on screen, I could have hold the snake by its tail and try to get it into a container and these things. That was the best time of my life at that time. And that's where it started. From there, it went on to, I would be playing with lizards, any little thing, caterpillar, butterflies, bees, all these little things. So, yeah, we just started with Steve Owen.
Wow. Just wow. And when you say you can read animals, what does that, really mean? And what signs or behaviors do you look for?
All right, so I look at the body language of the animal. So take, for example, these snakes are pretty calm. But if you were to encounter one of these guys in the wild, they will take a defensive posture. Now, a lot of persons will say it's trying to attack you. But it's not an attack posture, it's defense. They see you as a giant trying to eat them. So they just want to save their own lives. Yeah. Right? All animals will try to get away from you, basically. It will be a fight or flight response. If you leave them alone, they will just go their way. That goes for any animal. Wow. Only in other countries you will find animals trying to defend their territory and attacking you and these things. But in Trinidad, for the most part, animals will just get away from you.
Yeah. And how long would you say it takes to, build that trust with an animal?
It depends on the species that you're working with. It depends on the age of the animal. When it comes to younger animals, obviously they are less experienced, so it becomes easier. But the older ones, yes, you could work with them. However, it will take some more time and a little more injury.
Oh, I like how you point out that part. Can you walk us through the process in terms of, being able to get an animal, encounter one and then eventually interact with it, train with it, and if there are cases, you release it back out to the wild. What is that like?
All right, so let me say for these guys, you don't have much work to do. You become a branch when it comes to snakes. You give them support their bodies and no sudden movements. You try to slow down your heart rate, calm yourself so they don't feel the anxiety, because they will feel your heart rate through their bodies. Right? So just to stay calm with the animals and they will be calm. When it comes to other creatures, such as I will practice falconry with hawks and owls and stuff. And the process is a little more where you will try to gain trust with the animals. Right. So you work with them, you give them food, and they will see you as a partner, working with them, feeding them, and they will basically be like, with this person being around, I gain food. So this is my friend.
Yeah.
You stop feeding them, they stop like you.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. Now, what animals have you kept in captivity, and what determines whether an animal can be rehabilitated and released versus kept longer term?
All right, so I would have worked with, I would say, everything that you could find in Trinidad and Tobago. Wow. All different species. The animals that we will keep as ambassadors, because I work with a wildlife rehab center. So the animals we'll keep as ambassadors is such that would have injuries that we cannot be released back into the wild, or something that is always misunderstood, like take for example snakes. These guys can be released back to the wild. However, we need ambassadors to be able to teach people about them.
Yeah.
A lot of persons I would have encountered would have started, they will kill all the snakes.
Right.
And after talking with them and interacting with the snake, it will be like, you know, I wouldn't kill it again. I'll call you guys to remove it if I encounter a snake again.
Yeah.
So, but when it comes to rehabbing, the rehabbing part of things, as long as animal is deemed healthy, it's strong enough to hunt and survive on its own, it will be released.
Oh, okay. That's important. And now you do have 2 snakes in studio with us. So can you just tell us a bit about the snakes that you have here?
All right, so we have here a green anaconda. This is a baby. This girl is about 1.5 years old. Alright, and we have here a Colombian rainbow boa. This is what we will find locally in Trinidad. There are people who call the rat snake.
Right.
This is a rainbow boa.
Wow.
They are both constrictors, meaning that they will kill their food, they will squeeze it and constrict it and swallow it down whole.
Right.
They are non-venomous.
Lovely. And what are some of the misconceptions people have about these particular snakes?
Well, firstly, as Trinidadians, majority would say a good snake is a dead snake. Right? So they will always assume that animals will try to attack them.
Yeah.
When, again, they just want to get away from you.
Wow.
So a lot of the stories you will hear is a snake, the snake strike at me, run me down and all these things.
Yeah.
That is not the case. That is never the case. That's be a person's fear, and they imagining these things due to the fear.
Yeah. Fear does make people do a lot of crazy things in the moment.
Definitely.
And as you mentioned before, once, you know, the snakes are able to detect if your heart is going to increase, so, you know, that anxiety comes on, they're going to think it's something that they need to become defensive about. So it's really important to stay calm. Now, can you share a moment that where you was reading an animal correctly, and that made a critical difference for whether it was safety or even survival?
Now, in this country, we don't really have animals that you will find could hurt us, humans. Okay. We have the venomous snakes, however. Right. Those, obviously, yes, you can die from those. But for the most part, no, we don't have animals that can hurt us.
Okay.
Everything will want to run away from you. It's not like in the States where you have to be cautious of a bear in the forest and these things. For the most part, they will just want to get away from you. So with regard to reading the animal it will be for their safety. So if I were to get a call for a snake in someone's home, the first thing is identifying the snake first. You know, if it's venomous or non-venomous. It have instances where we have encountered a venomous snake, like the pit viper. Right. And, you know, because of reading that snake, you'll know when it's going to strike, you'll know how to interact with it to get it into the enclosure, into a container for removal and relocation. That is for the most part of it.
Oh, okay. And now, in terms of, well, I mean, you must be knowledgeable on these things, able to, do you separate or tell the difference between snakes based on their coat or their what would you call it?
The coloration.
The coloration, yeah.
Yeah, it is basically in Trinidad we have 4 main venomous snakes. We have more, but the main ones are the 2 coral snakes and 2 vipers. Right. Everything else is mildly venomous because they are rare-fanged or non-venomous. Yeah. When it comes to, you really need to study them to know the main ones at least, and for the most part, even the coral snakes don't really bite. You have to be going to interact with the animal, trying to pick it up or play with it for you to be bitten by these animals.
Wow.
If you just leave them alone, they wouldn't care if you're there or not. They will go about their business.
Going about their day like normal.
Yeah. When it comes to venomous snakes, they don't want to waste their venom on you. They rather use that to catch food.
Right.
But when it comes to humans, they will use it to defend themselves, obviously. And the majority of persons who will be bitten, who have been bitten, it was either trying to interact with it, trying to kill the snake, And then there's the instance where they will be walking through the forest unconcerned,
Right.
and they might step on it. That goes for like the vipers for the most part. Vipers, they believe in their camouflage so well that they will stay still.
Right.
And you will be walking through and they will hear you coming, but they will stay still and be like, you know what, if I don't move, he wouldn't see me, he wouldn't eat me. But then you might step on it. And that is where the fatality does happen. But for the most part, be cautious walking through the forest and leave them alone when you spot them.
Now, where can these snakes be commonly found?
You will find the green anaconda throughout the River swamp and tributaries. Tributaries are the river stream that connected to the main river.
Okay.
Mostly in the tributaries you'll find the green anacondas. In the River swamp, the Caroni swamp, anywhere the blackish water that's found around Trinidad.
Right.
And then you will find this one will be found throughout Trinidad and Tobago, the rainbow boa constrictor. These are more common snake persons will find in their homes, going after maybe little mice and rats in the community.
Okay, well, look at that. And do you think enough is being taught about awareness for the wildlife that we have here in Trinidad, you know, snakes, for instance, and other species? Do you think enough is being done to spread awareness?
There will never be enough. There will never be. The work is, no matter how many persons get involved in conservation, it's never enough. We're always looking for that next person to be aware and be cautious and pay attention and, you know, trying to get rid of the poachers, respect the animals, respect the environment, respect the forest. Littering, that is part of conservation. You'll go to hikes and rivers, streams, and you'll find a lot of debris, people leaving there. You know, so it's an ongoing process, and it will never be enough people we will find to do this.
Wow. And now, for viewers looking on, what is one message you'd like them to take away from, you know, if they get into that interaction with a snake or they come across one, what is that first response? What should that be like or look like?
I believe you should admire it from a distance and take as much pictures as you can, but leave it alone for the most part. If it's something that is within your path and it's threatening your livestock or probably your home or something, you can call on us at the Wildlife Center, you could call on the zoo, you could call on, and we will come and remove these animals.
Yeah. Wow, just wow. Guys, remember what he said, right? Just, you know, admire from afar and then call on the different respective persons that we have around us to take it. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, we have more interesting animals to show you all and conversation, so stay with us.
If these walls could talk, they'd cry uncle. They didn't plan to become offices or yoga studios, but they've stood by us, even when we got a little stir-crazy. For that, they deserve some thanks. They deserve Benjamin Moore.
Our award-winning show is back, and this season promises to be even more exciting than before. What's Up, Doc isn't just a title, it's a call to action for anyone who wants to improve their health and well-being. Join us on this thrilling ride towards better health on WESN Content Capital.
Pastor J, I want to get a tattoo.
You really want
Respond to me. Respond to me. How you would respond to me?
The first question I would ask is why?
Controversial taboo topics.
We get so consumed by church, we forget that we have to live the life of being a Christian outside of the Sunday.
Like you say,
services,
we think going to a service makes us a Christian.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So here we are about to hear the second time Pastor J wanted to take a tattoo.
Would have been late last year and early this year.
Oh gosh.
Hope Unfiltered podcast with Pastor J and Ren.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1. Find the style number on the tag. Step 2. Match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3, search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Are you driven, ambitious, and ready to earn? WESN, the content capital, is expanding, and we're looking for dynamic media sales executives to join our team. Sell powerful advertising solutions across television, digital, and social media platforms, and help brands tell their story. If you have strong communication skills, a passion for sales, and the drive to succeed, join WESN today. Send your CV to marketing@wsncc.com or WhatsApp 68-61662 and start building your future.
Welcome back. Now we are still in studio with Jeremy Wish, and he has more wildlife animals that he wants to share with us and tell us more about. So first we were able to see the snakes, and now we're going to see some animals of the air. Now,
Hi, here we have a savanna hawk. Let's try to get him to calm down. This is a savanna hawk. You will find these birds more around, obviously, because of the name savannas.
Right.
They like lowland areas. They like to be around flat land with a little bit of stream around. These birds will eat mainly rodents and small birds, large insects.
Wow.
Yeah, so they will be eradicating a lot of the mice and rats on your property.
Okay.
This guy here is Kess, the savanna hawk. My colleague named him that over the party song Savannah Grass by Kess. Okay. So Kess is Savannah hawk. All right. We had her for about 4 years. I got her as a check out of the nest. What happened is we found her on the ground next to the tree that the nest is at. And we took ladders, went up to the tree, put it back into the nest, and by the time the evening, it was out the nest again. The mom was tossing it out. For whatever reason, raptors or even birds on the whole, they will toss their young one out the nest. If maybe it have not enough food around available, or if the bird have an injury, they will get rid of the weaker one. Birds don't really care about their young. They care about their DNA going on, right? So when it comes to the emotional part of it, they don't care. They want to grow up the chicks so that they can carry on their DNA, basically. It's not like mammals where, you will find dogs and cats will crave their mother or they will crave their young. Because of the connection they will have feeding by lactation and these things.
Right.
When it comes to birds, it's just about carrying on their legacy, carrying on their DNA.
Yeah. And how do you balance that human interaction with preserving animals' natural instincts?
Okay, so this is for rehabbing.
Yeah.
Most of the time, when we get a bird, let me say we got a young bird and we need to send it back to the wild.
Right.
What we'll do is put it in a place where it has less human interactions. All right? and then we will feed it in a spot where the bird not seeing us bringing the food.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't want to associate food with the animal at all. In that aspect of things, they would not be imprinted or trying to go to people for food in the wild.
Okay. And now with Savannah hawk, what are some of the misconceptions that persons may have about this animal?
First of all, everybody will see this bird and see that chicken hawk. It have persons who would have shot these birds because of they're taking up their chickens and their livestock and these things.
Right.
However, if it is you secure your pets, these animals will have no reason to come and hunt it. If it is people stop poaching and allow wildlife to be there and exist, they will have food to eat in the wild, so they won't come after your chickens. All right, the misconception with these guys is that basically that they will eat your food.
Yeah.
I have known hunters who would have go to the lengths of just see the bird, just shoot it down.
Wow.
Because that bird will eat my agouti that I might get a catch in the wild. Whereas that's not the case.
And in terms of what does that process look like for interacting with animals such like this one?
When it comes to what aspect?
In terms of, you mentioned you got this one as a chick, but not all the times you're able to get them that small where they can get you it. So if you were to encounter one of this size, what would that process?
The larger species?
Yeah.
Mainly with rehabbing again, we would get them, if they are as an adult, they will come with an injury. Maybe they were shot, maybe they were electrocuted, they got hit by a car, and the process of rehabbing, firstly, you deem that the animal is able to go back to the wild.
Right.
Most of the time, if it's not, it will become an ambassador for the species, or we'll have to consider euthanizing. Euthanasia is where basically they kill the animal, right? Because it no longer could go on to the wild, and it doesn't make sense keeping it in captivity because it will stress the animal even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to the process, once the vets deem that the animal is healthy, and we will now put it into a flight enclosure where it will be able to hunt, it will be able to, we'll observe it, make sure it could hunt, make sure it's doing everything it's supposed to do, it's flying well, and then we'll release it back to the wild.
And now, what is the estimated period for that rehabilitation process? How long does it take for the animals?
Rehabbing could take from 2 weeks up to 2 years.
Wow.
Like take for example, we got an osprey at a time and it was electrocuted. Osprey is a fish eagle.
Okay.
Right? So it went up on a high tension wire with a fish it just caught. That fish dangling on the wire, short of the electricity, the bird get burned. All the feathers was burnt off. So now it was alive, it was healthy, but it was featherless.
Wow.
So we had to wait for that bird to molt all the feathers, grow new ones, before we could release it back to the wild. That took about 2 years.
Wow. Wow. Can you share another story where you were able to encounter a wildlife animal and, would that release a successful release back out to the wild?
Yeah, we have a lot of success when it comes to the animals. We get even the chicks, like right now is baby bird season.
Right.
So we get around a lot of babies. Yeah, and is either someone cut down a tree, the chick fall out the nest, the wind blow it out the nest. It have instances where poachers would have gone for parrots, and the people that sell the parrot who cannot take care of it. So it's a lot. There's always something coming in. There's always a new animal coming in.
Yeah, that is true. Now, what animals have you, kept in captivity, and in terms of what you would have encountered so far, and in terms of reading the animals, how was that journey come along?
All right. So when it comes to this guy here, he has his moods. So sometimes he will not want to work with us, and that's fine. That's understandable. It have instances where we'll be going to this place, and I will go to get him in, to take him into the carrier, and he just doesn't want to go, and that's fine. I respect him. You can stay there. We'll work with him another time.
Okay.
So I try to maintain a level of respect with the animals. When it comes to reading them, I would know when a lot of things going to happen. Like before he poops, I would know when he's going to do it to aim his butt in a direction where somebody wouldn't be hit by it. But in terms of training, it's a matter of trying to get him to understand that this glove is where he will get his food from, and he will always fly back to this.
You see, there was like a reaction there when you raised your hand for a second. It's as if he already knew what you were trying to say.
This is where he's trying to get the food from.
Okay. And in terms of reading, how long did it take you to actually read an animal?
This would have happened over years of paying attention to their body language. Look, just observing them in the wild, the way they fly, even being able to identify a bird way up in the sky where you can't see its colors, but you're just identifying by the way it flaps its wings. They could be able to tell what species it is. And then observing their behavior and trying to simulate that in captivity so that they will have the best possible life with you if you're keeping that animal as an ambassador. So you'll find I would try to provide insects, as much as possible because they will eat insects in the wild. I will try to making sure you're getting chickens, you're getting the little rats and mice and all these things that is necessary. I can't feed this bird chicken like broilers like we would be eating. I can't be giving them that all the time. He has to get younger chicks, he has to get quails, we will get him the mice, we will get rats, we will get these large locusts.
Wow.
You know, so you try to make sure he has a wide variety of food.
Yeah. And now we do have some other birds in studio, so we could just talk about them. No one to put them in harm's way or anything.
Yeah, I could restrain this one and
I could bring
get
this
that one
one
out. Yeah.
Okay. Is it okay to open it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could take them out. Yeah, just cradle them on the right? So this is a baby tropical screeching owl. Right? These are more common bird you'll find in Trinidad as well. These are just a baby. Someone went to get parrots, to poach parrots out of a tree, and they found these little guys.
Okay.
So they decided nobody wants to buy them. They can't make any money on them, so they send it to the wildlife center.
Wow.
All right. Our responsibility now is to keep them fed, keep them healthy, and then we'll be able to turn them back to the wild.
Yeah.
What we'll do right now is just provide as much food and nutrition as possible.
Right.
When they reach an age where they could fly, we put them into a fly cage and release mice, release things inside of there, so they can identify their prey item and they will hunt that animal inside of the enclosure.
Okay.
Once we see that it's hunting well, it's flying well, and they are afraid of humans, we return them to the wild as soon as we can.
Wow. And where can these animals be found?
You will find these guys throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah. They are very common. However, we hardly would see them because they are nocturnal.
Yeah.
And when they get older, they're just a small brown bird. So they will hide in the tree canopies. You wouldn't really see these guys flying around much.
Okay. So this coating here, because it's not a typical coating that you'd see on an owl. Is it this at this stage for babies? This is what they look like.
Yeah. So at this stage, that's the down feathers you're seeing there. You will find.
Sorry.
That's fine. So that's the down feathers. That is what they will hatch with. And they will molt out those feathers and get their adult plumage.
Oh, okay. And it's really just interesting to see because I don't think many persons see them at this stage. You know, we normally would just tend to see them when they get bigger and we see that brown coating, we see the different coating for different owls because I know there are more than one species of owls out there. So it's just, spectacular to see them at this stage and then to see what they can become afterwards. Now, what advice would you give to, young persons interested in wildlife, that wants to get work here in Trinidad and Tobago or just loves to be passionate about these animals and want to do better? What advice would you give them?
Get involved with a wildlife center.
Yeah.
We have a few throughout the country. You can contact the forestry division and they will point into that direction. Once you get involved, you can get as a volunteer. You will get to work with the animals, you'll get to work with vets, alongside and get familiar with these things.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to work with animals, you could get involved with part of the forest part, learning about the trees, the plants, the environment. You have the flora and fauna that you could get involved with. Get involved with any wildlife center or contact forestry. They'll point into that direction.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Jeremy. Now, any other message or any fun facts you'd like to leave us with these animals that we have here today?
Yeah, I would say please try and respect the animals.
Yeah.
Let's preserve the environment. Let's clean up after ourselves. When we go out into the forest, make sure just take pictures, leave footprints.
I like that. Very clean and straightforward. And now, for persons who might be afraid, of these animals, what message would you leave with them?
If you're afraid of something, admire it from a distance.
Yeah.
You don't need to kill it. You don't need to destroy it. Look at it. Be afraid, that's fine. If you want to face your fear, you could visit us. You could come to the wildlife centers, and we will work you through that. But for the most part, just leave it alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And with those wildlife centers, can you give us, location, times, and, how can persons get involved to know more about these animals?
All right, so we have a Serpentarium in Komoto.
Right.
That is run by Mr. Said Ali. You could look him up on Facebook, Instagram.
Yes.
Serpentarium, that is. We have the El Securo Center for Wildlife Conservation. That is located in Freeport and Brasso. That is Ricardo Mead. He is more works with the birds and stuff. Serpentarium is more reptiles, and Ricardo will work with the birds.
Okay.
All right. There's one in Rio Claro. That's raw conservation. So you can contact that. You'll find all these people on social media.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for coming on this morning and sharing these wonderful animals with us and giving us more insights about them and, giving us that informative message as well. It was truly uplifting. And what you do with these animals is also admirable. I don't think a typical Trini or anyone who doesn't really love and have a passion or a heart for wildlife would be doing what you do. So it's truly commendable that you are doing it. And we do need more persons like you to bring awareness and to show us that each animal has its part to play. And once we leave them to do what they need to do, we would be okay, Guys, as we wrap up today's show, we hope that everything was timely and you did get to take away something from it. And again, if you are afraid of these animals, watch them and admire them from a distance. No need to try to kill them, make them a part of your meal plan. They have their own things that they would like to do as well, so keep that in mind when you see these animals. And like I always say, stay safe, stay informed, stay positive. Up next, we do have Sean Michael Small at 8 with Talking Points, so you want to come back for that. And I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Bye.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment.